Hello and welcome to episode 10 of This Korean Life. I got this six-pack on a diet of sweet and sour pork and jjajangmyeon. Said no one ever. Check out Ulsan's only fresh daily salad delivery. Uncle Veggie offers a variety of healthy salads delivered to your door. All salads are made to order daily. Get fit and get your fill of crisp mixed greens, proteins, and seasonal fruits. Don't waste all your energy digesting a double serving of bulgogi. Have a healthy, light salad. Ordering is easy. You can either visit Uncle Veggie on Instagram to see some of their delicious concoctions and to place your order via direct message, or you can call 010-5669-3681 for more details. Go green with Uncle Veggie. This podcast is also brought to you by SEMA. One of Ulsan's favorite expat hangouts, located in Samsandong, just a few minutes away from the department store. It's a great place to meet new people, enjoy a couple beverages on the patio, or dance the night away during one of its wild parties. Let Al and his staff show you how they like to get down. Open weekly, Thursday through Sunday. Check out their Facebook page for more information on upcoming events, like Spoken Word or the We Hope Poker Run. Today's guest is Mr. Sean Ogorman. Sean gave a wonderful interview and delivered all there is to know about spoken word and slam poetry, both in Canada and in Korea. It was interesting for us to learn a little about how these kind of little clusters of spoken word authors pop up all over the country, providing entertainment for so many people. Sean is not only a spoken word aficionado, but also the literary editor for Angle Magazine and event organizer. Sean spoke about working with the LGBT community to keep this year, 2019, to keep the Ulsan Pride Celebration going another year after his friend who had started it moved away from Ulsan. Lots of goodies in here, guys. I hope you enjoy.
You are now tuned into This Korean Life with your hosts, Brian and Nate.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of This Korean Life. Today we are joined by Sean Ogorman, another Canadian native. First I want to apologize that I've said countless times I want to come see a cipher poetry. I want to come see the cipher poetry slam. Unfortunately, it's every time they're held on Saturdays at 7 p.m., which I've informed you is absolutely bath time for the kids.
Yeah,
and
that's
it's just
But you could take one off every 5 years, right?
Oh, yeah, he makes a good point. Eddie. It's been 5 years.
It has been. Listen, I'm gonna get out to one of these. I watched
last time I checked, his wife also has two hands.
Oh, look at this. We're starting it off hot. Coming in.
Two people on this side and one on that side.
I've seen, and actually I hope you go back to it. I've seen a couple of them posted online before, and I hope you guys continue to record them and post them up. I really enjoyed that. Thank you. Yeah, when you're before we get into explaining and defining and talking more about it, is it okay to record them? Are they one-shot deals, like you write it for that Saturday night, or is this material used over and over again?
No, they're not one-shot. Well, depends. Nobody wants to hear the same poem again and again. Yeah. So like it's different in Korea because, and I recently had this talk with my buddy Carlos, where we usually when we write, we will perform it, but I don't want to perform it multiple times in a row, because then people get bored of it, to be honest. So do I.
Of course, yeah.
Like back in Canada, if you're touring or competing, you can repeat poems pretty easily because it's always a different crowd. So like I'll repeat poems if I'm going to a different city. Like if I'm in Ulsan, then my next thing is in Busan, then yeah, I'll do the same poem again. But for the most part, like I might repeat a poem if I haven't done it in like a year or maybe 6 months, or if I know the crowd's different. But
cool. Did you say there's competitions in Canada?
Yeah. The slam scene in Canada is really, really great. I mean, I was able to be a part of it for a number of years, and yeah, it's great. It's a whole other animal than the open mic, right? Like a lot of the poems might be the same, but when you add the competitive aspect of it, which is slam, it's a wonderful thing. It really is. And it really keeps your writing really sharp, because you always want to bring something new, and you're motivated because you want, like I said, like if work is slow and you want that $100 pot at the end of the night, then you're going to try your best to get it.
Oh, cool. Very nice, very nice.
What you say they're big in Canada. How long ago are we talking? I don't recall any memories in university of hearing about clubs or groups. I was more into the sports scene probably, but I think I was also pretty open-minded. How long ago was that it was started or that it was popular in Canada?
I don't know. For me, I didn't even know about it until 2009.
Okay.
And I randomly
That makes
went
me
in.
feel better.
Yeah. For me, I was like, I went into this coffee shop in Ottawa called Umi Cafe, and it was just randomly went in there for one of their open mics, and I just loved the whole scene. And through there, I met people who were involved with the Capital Slam scene. Unfortunately, Cap Slam is shut down, but the poetry slam that I helped organize with two of my friends is still running, and that was called the Urban Legends Poetry Slam. We're not the ones who started it. It was started by my friend Suhaib and Ian, but we've been able to go to CFSW, which is the team national championship. So we were able to go. I was on a team in 2010 and then again in 2011. Oh wait. Yeah, that's right. 2010, 2011. And it's just an amazing experience because all the poets from different cities all stay in the same hotel. And you just meet a ton of people, a ton of like-minded people that are equally passionate in the same art form. And it's an incredible week. You're mentally exhausted by the end of it, but it's a wonderful time.
No doubt. At home or here, do you find a lot of people are writing on the same topics? Is it are people? My idea of slam poetry is maybe letting out your anger.
Yeah.
Poetry is it getting up there and yelling on a mic, or does everyone have a real point they wanna make, or is it generally trying to make sense of something or making things rhyme? What's the
rhyming scheme thing isn't really seen a lot. Some people adhere to it, some people don't. In terms of topics, I think the more politically driven topics are a bit more common back home because, for lack of a better term, the market is saturated with performers. Like if you look at websites like Button Poetry, where it's just I don't even know how many videos they have up. There's a lot more people. So because there's fewer people here performing, you still have the same, I think, percentage division of like people who stick to certain topics as opposed to like let's say these people write more politically, these people write more comedy based. It's just the numbers are lower, so it's not as
okay. So people are writing. It seems at home people are writing to get more, not for the expression, writing more for the notoriety or the
for any reason, any number of reasons or personal reasons somebody would have. It's the kind of thing where also we live a very privileged life here. You know, like I live a very comfortable life. I love my job. You know?
Yeah.
Back home, you look at like it's a very different political climate for a lot of people, and like they're living in this whatever they're living every day. So what it happens to be on their mind comes out through their performance and their writing. And so since our experiences are also quite different, like we get a lot of like playful, a lot of some more political poems, but I mean a lot, not as many, I think, for those two reasons.
Cool.
I'm curious. You mentioned at the end of the night they really want that $100 pot. If you're talking about a 1 week long thing and staying in hotels and stuff, is that self-funded or is there support or can you make more if you're on the poetry scene, or what kind of money is involved in it?
You can make a good amount of money. When I meant the pot, I meant like let's say there's a slam twice a month. And people coming in pay at the door, and all that money goes into the pot for the team, and it also goes into the pot to pay the feature as well as the winner. Right? Some slams you'll win $50, some slams you win $100 if you win the slam. If you're featuring, you can get paid usually around $125. The most I got paid for a feature was $400 for like 20 minutes.
No way.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Oh, cool.
And
Toontown.
yeah, and to get teams to the national contest, usually. You pull a lot of fundraisers, and the community is very supportive. They want to see you get there. So, you know, everybody will come, pay their tickets at the door. And, so it's pretty good. But a lot of it it's hustle. If you want to go, you gotta make that money and get there. Unless your scene is funded by the government, like you have an arts grant.
That's you were explaining that to me years ago when I was doing selling the books at the used book stall there at the foreigner market. You were explaining that Canadian government supports the slam poets to go abroad and share their and share their material?
It's one of the grants that you can get made available, right? You have to go through of course, the paperwork to apply, and you have to have certain things set up, to show them if they're going to give you money. You got to be like, no, this is going to happen.
Hey, it's Sean. Send me.
Exactly.
Send me a plane ticket. Yeah.
But I mean, like theoretically, like if let's say you're an artist and you can collaborate with somebody from like another country, maybe get both of your works translated into each other's languages. You can set up some shows. Yeah, like the government will give you money to do something like that. Like
a lot of hidden funding there.
That's the thing too. Like there's a lot of funding opportunities that people just don't know about.
All the time, right? I remember one experience in high school. Mom or dad had said you should start applying for grants and scholarships and
bursaries.
I got a list of them, and Dad said just apply for all of them. And I said, well, this one says you have to be, for example, of Mexican descent, and it's a $500 bursary for whatever.
Had tacos for dinner.
But they said, so many of these go unclaimed and people don't know about them. If you apply, they might just see you as an ambitious individual, and they might say, okay, sure, you know what? This guy took the time and the effort to do it. Yeah, let's give it to him. But when through that process, I realized also how many people were unaware of how much funding and individual, things there are out there, but just no idea.
Yeah, there's a ton of opportunity that unless you know people who can inform you of it,
right?
Like I don't even know where to begin looking. Like that's the thing. And like you said about bursaries, like I remember when I was at uni, I had this prof that like grilled it into us. He was like, "This is money that a lot of people don't. It's free money. All you got to do is fill out a piece of paper."
Exactly.
And like a lot of people don't, just out of laziness, or they're like, "Oh, I'll never get it." So like, what's the point?
That's what I said. Like it says, you have to be from Mexico, or you have to be a Spanish speaker, or you have to be. But if you were a French speaker and no Spanish speakers applied, who knows?
Yeah, clearly
they might give it to you.
It would go to, of course, a person of Mexican descent, absolutely. But I mean, if the money's just sitting there and it's like either nobody takes it or we give it to somebody, if it comes down to that decision,
maybe you'll get it.
You never know. It doesn't hurt.
Back to the slam poetry. We had our friend Scott last week. I don't know how we're going to be releasing these, so maybe Scott's will come after yours, but not important. We were talking about he's into break dancing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's called breaking now.
I'm not hip.
He's into, but we weren't either. We're talking about the evaluation, how they're scored. A large part of the thing is going to competitions and competing. One team versus the other. And he said the evaluation, it's still, there's no concrete way to say you're better. Everyone kind of has their different style. For slam poetry, who's making the decisions? Is it a random Joe in the audience, or do you have a panel of higher ups? Or you'd be like the
cheer for your favorite guy.
No,
by audience applause.
I've actually seen it done in all three of those ways. The craziest way I saw was like there was one time Carlos got the judges to draw a picture that symbolized what they thought the poet should get, and then he had to translate the picture into a numerical like number, and like he just did it for fun.
Oh, okay.
But people do the audience cheering thing.
I think when money's involved, people will probably get a little more serious, or maybe like, be a little.
The funny thing is like as soon as it's a slam, like money or not, people.
What's the difference between slam and slam? Makes it competition.
It's partly like how you deliver the piece.
Okay.
And it's also partly just the fact it is the competitive aspect of it.
Okay.
Right? Like, yeah, it really, you can get different answers from different people. I think it's 50-50.
Okay.
But no, normally what they do is, and this is in my experience, this is the most common, we'll take 5 random people from the crowd. They'll take 5 random people from the crowd. And our goal is to get as people who don't know what they're doing. You know what I mean? And they're each given a whiteboard, and they're told they can give a point system like up to 10 with a 1 point whatever. So they can do like a 9.8 or a 6.4.
Yeah.
And what we do is we erase the highest score, we erase the lowest score, and we keep the middle 3. And
it's like figure skating.
Yeah. And because there's always somebody who's just like loves everything, and somebody that just hates everything. So right away we're like, get them the fuck out of there. Yeah. And we keep the middle 3, and it's not the best system, but it's effective.
Yeah.
But there are problems too, like with something called score creep, because like if you genuinely love that art form, it's a very hyped night. You build yourself up, and by the end of the night, everybody's just having a great time.
Yeah.
So then it's difficult to find judges that'll remain consistent.
Yeah.
Because also when judges throw up like a score that's a bit lower than you thought, people boo the judges, people cheer the judges, and
but if you don't, also if you're going in there blank, I mean, if you pick me for a judge, and I don't know how to evaluate the
before,
first.
they would target you. They'd be like, have you ever been to a slam before? You say no, and they're like, be a judge.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
No, but I mean, like, I would have to
He's
watch.
going to vote for the bald guy.
But no, but I'd have to watch. I'd have to watch 3 or 4. Like, you finish, and then I give you a score, right?
Well, no. What happens is we have we call it the sacrificial poet. So their sacrifice is there to calibrate the judges. So we'll have one who does really well, and they go up.
You've got this figured out.
They do their piece. Judges give their scores, and then they're playfully reminded that people are going to cheer your high scores. They're going to boo your low scores no matter what. And the judges are told that. So But most importantly, remain consistent. Don't start throwing up 10s in the second round just because you love it all. You know?
Yeah. I gotcha. What when you're creating your slam poetry, where do you draw your inspiration from?
Lots of different things, like whatever happens, like I said, whatever's in my mind at the time, or whatever experiences I'm currently going through. Like
girlfriend left me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm crying in my no, but it's one of those things where it's whatever I happen to be experiencing at the time. Like, my writing methods kind of shift. Like, there's been times where I would sit down and for some reason I would write an entire poem and it would require very little editing. And there's other times where I just struggle with them. I'm always changing it. I can't find ways to make it work. So yeah, sometimes I need a mind map and then I build it up from there. It really, it's strange that there's no one way I go about it. It's just whatever happens to work at the time.
Yeah.
Is there any, I think I touched on it earlier, is there any parameters or guidelines for the slam, or when you say sit down and write one? I mean, that most of us, our experience in poetry would end in probably elementary school with the haiku and a couple other ones.
Haikus are great.
But when you do it, like, and I know the open mic nights or some of the slam nights say anybody welcome, come on down. But if one of us was going to try and write something, is there any parameters or anything you have to follow? Or
well, the first thing you should look up is what your time limit is.
Oh yeah, I was just going to say.
Now, there's usually at a slam there will be 4 or 5, maybe between 4 and 6 spots for open micers. So we'll have the open mic first, and then each open micer will get probably around 4 or 5 minutes. But the thing with slam is that it's a 3 minute. You have 3 minutes.
Okay. You got to keep it concise.
You have a 10-second grace period. So you could technically go to 3 minutes, 10 seconds.
Yeah.
But the minute you go over that, for every 10-second increment, you lose an additional point off your score.
Full point?
Yeah.
Jesus.
I've seen people lose all their points, get perfect scores, and wind up with a 0 because they just went too long. Maybe they forgot the poem like halfway through, and then because that happens.
Yeah.
Because you're just, like, when you slam, you memorize it, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, you can get up there and like halfway through your poem, you just lose it, and you're just standing there, and that is the worst.
You can't bring cue cards up with you.
You could, but like,
It's frowned upon.
It's not really frowned upon. I've seen people read, but if you're in it to win, you're going up against people who have it memorized. They're ready to deliver it. And you no matter how good your poem is, if you're standing there like this, you know what I mean, against somebody that's just like very animated, like it's you don't stand a chance. Yeah.
So the time limit, and then what about writing it? I mean,
anything you can do.
Say, like, growing up, it's very structured, right? We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this.
Yeah.
But this is very kind of free. Is there, like you said before, topics or everything just a go?
Yeah, it's a free for all, really. Like what you're describing is the approach when you're studying a specific poetry format, right? And there's so many different ones, but with slam and spoken word, it's people don't usually adhere to those. Like, we're definitely maybe draw inspiration from them, but I mean,
it's more about expression than following a structured rule.
I came across one on YouTube maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And I think it's a woman from the States. I believe she's a student, maybe high school or university. And her topic is about Korea. And she talks about soju guzzling. I mean, it's really, really, really good. And that was kind of my first experience with a poetry slam. And someone had sent it because...
He's the judge that gives everyone 10.
Someone had sent it because it was related to Korea or whatever. And said, oh, you're going to love this. And it was incredible. And I'll post it on the podcast after on the website.
Yeah, I want to see that.
It was deadly. And I thought, wow, that lady, she's amazing. She was really incredible. And I don't know I could probably write a story like that. Is it just the way you deliver it? Or is there, like, do you write lines or fragments, or just write a story and then it's all how you deliver it and your intonation and the pauses and everything else?
It's all of that. Yeah. Like delivery is key for sure, right? Like it's like a good storyteller. When you watch like somebody tell a story and they can do it in a say a captivating way. Like they're not just
So Morgan Freeman wins every poetry slam.
Yeah. Like,
but if I read one of yours, would I think it's a story, or would I think, well, this is definitely a poem?
It depends. It depends on the one. Like really
that's
depends
what I'm
on
curious.
the piece
If
itself,
we just
'cause
write a story and then if I gave it to you, you could turn it into a poetry slam piece.
I could
by how
edit
you do
it.
or-
I could edit it. Maybe try to work it so that it would definitely be doable.
Oh, that's what I mean. I'm just curious if anybody can do it and just kind of write a story and then go up and say it.
Well, I mean, I think
Hey,
it
that's
definitely
not really
takes.
poetry slam. You're just reading a story, buddy.
It's it really depends. It really depends, right? Like I think it can be done, but there's definitely like a formula to like a slam
To do it, yeah.
right?
Well,
But-
I noticed from watching them on YouTube, or you do see the, I don't know if it's like you said, the intonations or the way.
yeah.
There is a slam poetry esque. There's a way to deliver.
Yeah, like the whole joke, like a slam poetry voice.
Okay,
And like the
radio voice.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
I gotcha.
But it like in terms of like whether it's poetry or stories, like spoken word is very much like a gray area where you can make any number of things fit if you work.
I like that less constrictions on the,
Yeah. Like really, the only constrictions and the whole time constriction is only there for the competition. Like you see other
that's
people
good
who
too. I
stop
mean, you
competing, like they start going to open mics and they like sometimes like they're like fuck it, they'll do a 1 minute poem or they'll go up and do like a 5 minute poem. Like some of Shane Koizan's stuff is quite long, but it's amazing. But I mean, he's also in a place where he doesn't need to compete anymore.
Right.
You know, like this guy bought a house with poetry. I mean, like he's
No way.
he's the most successful Canadian thus far.
What's his name again?
Shane Koizan.
So what is he making? How is he making money? He's not making $100 a night at he's not making $100 a night. He's selling books. He's doing online tutorials,
got albums. He's I believe it's called the Short Story Long, where like it's like he has music accompaniment and like he's got tons of stuff. He's the guy who opened up the Olympics in Vancouver. Remember that guy? Yeah, like this guy, and he's the nicest guy you could ever meet. The nicest guy. He's tremendously successful, and I'm really happy for him. I think it's great.
What's I mean, I'll refer to my hobby originally. Years ago, I was into kickboxing. I had no intention ever of turning pro or making it or opening my own gym or whatever. But my motivation day to day was just to keep my skill or maybe win a fight here or there. What keeps you motivated? Is it the potential to be the Shane Koizan? Is the dream for slam poets is it like the Saturday Night Warrior? Like, yeah, I'm gonna go deliver my best poetry tonight, and or is it everyone has dreams of making an album and buying a house and retiring off the slam poetry?
What I really love about it, like it's definitely afforded me a lot of opportunities. Like my last book got published by a man named Brad Morden in Toronto, and he helped me out a lot. And like I feel like I've hit my limit in terms of that. Like I might see another publication, but I mean mostly the reason why I continue to do it is because it's a very community based event. It's a wonderful for community building. Yeah. And I still do them here. I still organize events here, and I still go to other events here because like I love the people that go. It's fun to keep the art form going.
Hey, you must meet a lot of interesting people.
Yeah. And it's almost therapeutic to work on something like that and actually form it and deliver it. And yeah, like in terms of like community building, it's wonderful to be part of it.
Yeah.
And so like that's why I keep doing it, you know.
When I see there's always good response, and when you post your events on Ulsan Online, SEMA's been nice enough to host you guys lots. Now, when you first came to Ulsan in 2013, did you start right away? As soon as you came here?
When I first came to Ulsan, I was of course like I left my entire scene in Ottawa, and I knew I was going to start something. I went around to a few. I think one of my first nights out, I did the Tiho poker run,
Oh,
and I didn't know anybody, didn't know any of the venues.
A good initiation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like it was such a crazy time too, because like I had burnt out really bad when I first got here, so I didn't really do much. You know what I mean? Like I spent a lot of time at home. So I did the Tiho poker run, and I knew I wanted to look for another venue. I figured I'm going to all these bars, I'm going to check them all out, and that was also my introduction to what the drinking nights were here could be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like I remember I landed at SEMA last, and we're partying, we're having a great time. And the sun came up, and I was like, "What the fuck are we?" Because I'm from Canada. You know what I mean?
It's
like
everything closes at
1:30,
2.
they're like, "Fuck you." Then like 2:00, they kick you out. And so like I'm looking, I looked at Al, and I was like,
Last call.
"Yeah." And then eventually I approached Al about doing because I felt like Al and our personalities we mix really well. You know what I mean? And I'm glad I'm glad he gives me his bar for my event. So I approached Al about doing a slam, and my original idea was to maintain a slam because that's all my background. Like so I approached Al to do a slam, and Al was down 100%. And so I organized it. I posted Ulsan online. Like this is back in 2013. I was like, "Yo, I'm gonna start slams. Anybody want in?" And I got 2 likes. And that's it. So I was like, maybe, I don't know. So either way, I threw up the event, and we hosted it. The funny thing is that all the people at the bar, not one of them knew about the event. None of them came for the event. and so I was like, yo, I even bought whiteboards for everybody. You know what I mean? I was all set. And then it wound up being it was beautiful because like, it just wound up being like a storytelling night. And I was like, this is what I'm doing. Everybody's like, oh, cool. And like, they're like, oh, I don't do poetry. I'm like, yeah, you share stories. So all these random fucking people that were just drinking SEMA just stood up, and everybody's sharing these different stories.
There's lots of stories around there.
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
But I think I remember some of those earlier days like that, and guys posting online after, hey, some poetry or open mic thing showed up in the middle of my night at SEMA, and it turned out to be really fun.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing lots of people's random stories about, stumbling upon, and I think I even did once or twice, and what's going on tonight? I didn't see any official event or anything, and then it ends up being free shots for the speakers and whatever else, and turns into a big party.
That's
the bottle of whiskey.
Yeah. Like, and that's the funny thing too, because like when I decided to give up on it being a slam, because there was a slam in Busan, but like more people came out when I changed it to be an open mic.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are more comfortable sharing that way,
Absolutely.
So I changed it to be an open mic. I would organize to have a feature come in, so I do the open mic, and then the feature would go up. And I got the bottle of whiskey. So as soon as the performers are done, they take a shot.
Yeah.
It's just like a gimmick, but it works. People like it. Yeah. But we're also, by the end of the night, we're
wasted.
Yeah. But it's always worth it.
Just back to a little while ago there. Are most of the slams taking place in bars and pubs and lounges and stuff, or do they also happen in libraries or something, or am I crazy? I mean, is it only in drinking places, or do they also happen schools or
I'd say
it is popular to have them in bars for adults. The high school scenes, which are really strong, of course they can't do them in bars, but they usually land in like libraries or maybe coffee shops or something.
Oh, really?
Huh. My slam in Ottawa that I organized with Sarah Musa and Sergio Guerra, our slam was predominantly Muslim, so we couldn't really do it at a bar, so we actually hijacked like a classroom on campus, and we just did our thing there. But it was great because like we would throw down like a circle of Christmas lights, and then all the chairs would be a circle around the poet, and it just made for very much more
intimate.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. And that's one thing I like about teaching here, and maybe you have the same experience with slam poetry. You never know where your classroom's going to be. You never, you find yourself sometimes in very unique situations, like you said, in a classroom with lights around you, or now you're in the SEMA rooftop. That's cool. It's an interesting, almost like a video game. You never know. You never know what board you're going to end up on next.
So you told us about Al in the beginning of the slam or attempted slam. Is it now well known and much better attended? And what is it like now? Is there still the surprise guests, or is there a following that comes each one? And
for a while, I was lucky enough to build up quite a following with it. Like I would fill SEMA, which was wonderful. Yeah. But last summer, like 15 of like some of my the performers that perform the most often, everybody's like this exodus. And then so not the last one I did, but the one before that, it wasn't really well. Like not a lot of people came. Right. We still had fun. It was a good time. Sure. But like at my best, like SEMA would be full. I would have like 10 or 14 people on the open mic and a feature. You know, like it was going great. It was going really great, and it's still going great. I'm happy, and I'm proud of what's built from it. But
ebbs and flows, though, right?
That's the nature.
I
of
do
it,
the
right?
hockey team, and I mean, there was a time. Now there's only 2 of us, and Roy Garcia there. He left not long ago, and before that there was and Chris. So there was 4 of us recently. Now there's only me left, and sometimes we have 1 or 2 others. But I remember 6 years ago when we had a team of 4. We had 22 foreigners.
Yeah. Well, the rugby team's going through something similar, right? Like,
sure. So that's just the nature of the beast. It goes and comes, and you get a good time and
the important thing is that you have someone solid in the community who continues to promote that, and doesn't. What I like is that you're not discouraged by, you know, you had that big build up and I got my whiteboards, I'm ready to go. 2 people, and you're like, but I'm glad you don't get discouraged, and it's very important.
You can't.
It's important, especially being abroad. Not everyone's motivated to go out and start their own this or that, but without these events, what's the living abroad is there's nothing special about it, or it's good to connect with your community, and we need people like you and others to.
I remember in the early days of the slam there and seeing Al post them and say poetry night Friday night or Saturday night, and I was like, is he trying to kill the customers off, or is he trying to get more? And I was like, what is he? Saturday night poetry slam? Who? I mean, okay, well, I'm going to go at midnight then, but. Then you start seeing more and more people coming, and then that's like a warm up or a pre-gamer, and have a couple of quiet ones and relax, and then I kind of learned more about it. But I remember at the beginning seeing it online and thinking, is Al lost his marbles? He's trying to get more people in by announcing a poetry contest at 8:00 on a Saturday. What's going on?
That's one thing that I love about Al, because like that guy just wants to support everybody.
Sure.
But I know exactly what you're talking about too, right? Like, it's something that's definitely different. Like, it's, to my knowledge, this is the first one in Ulsan. I'm lucky though, because like you look at places like Daegu and Busan, they're geographically close enough that, and my venue is really close to the bus terminal, so I get people coming from different cities,
right.
and I'm really grateful for that, because it's good that like where different organizers come out to support the show. Like, oftentimes when he can make it, this dude Kay comes down from Busan, Carlos comes to like every event, and I go to all his events. I try to make
great
it
just that you can get the people from out of town to come. I mean,
that
shows that you have something good going on and you're doing a good job. I mean, if people are willing to come from the other cities, that's fantastic.
Is there a central organizing committee, or you're in charge of Ulsan, he's in charge of Busan, he runs the show?
Like there's no like anybody can do shows. Like if there's another show to pop up in Ulsan, I'd be 100% supportive of it. But we do try to avoid organizing on the same night, because if
it's like in the past with the markets, you don't want to have one market Saturday, one Sunday.
Yeah, here. You want to we want to be able to have, because by doing it this way, like we don't have to. We'll probably get more performers, because people who want to perform more will go to all the events. We'll get more people for listeners who want to hit up all the events, and there's 4 weekends in a month. We can easily do it. Yeah.
Awesome. You said you published you have published work.
Yeah.
I know you work also for Angle magazine.
That's right.
How did you get started in Angle, and what is your current what's your role with Angle magazine?
I'm the literary editor for Angle magazine. So like I hunt down writers, and if people want to submit, they send it to me, and then I try to find people to promote on the magazine. Like I recently with an artist named Jules Rapp, and she was my feature for Cypher. She was my most recent feature, and she was amazing. And she was my most recent poet to promote. She's actually going back to the States to do an MFA in poetry, so she's quite talented. So
motherfucking associate's degree,
exactly. Okay. But she's just endlessly talented, and she's just real nice woman. Yeah. So like it's been working with Angle. I haven't always been the literary editor. I took over after Roman had left. And it's been a lot of fun. It doesn't take a lot of effort on my side, because I'm always going to the shows anyway. So if I see people I like your work, or people email me, it doesn't take me long to read it, and it looks good on a resume.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Where I seem to remember seeing that magazine before, but I haven't seen it in ages. Where is it distributed?
It's actually it's an online magazine. It's not in print.
It never was.
I think the one that you're thinking of is Bracket. Remember that one? I think it was ran out of Daegu. I'm not sure.
Well, there was a few now that,
unless you mean like,
not
because
halves.
I know that what Philip Brett, who runs Angle, he does this thing every year called Big Day South, and it's a huge like 3-day event. And he's done one in Ulsan. He did one in Ulsan like years ago. Yeah. But he's done them in Daegu, Busan, like all over the place. And Big Day South is always a great time, but I think
he's a pretty important figure in the music community. Yeah. I remember me and Nate used to sell pulled pork at the markets there for a few months. And he came up and just general chat, like, "Hey, what are you doing? You're a teacher here, yeah. And what else do you do?" And just so nonchalantly, just I organize bands to come to Korea, and then as I learned more about him, like, oh my God, he's at the center of bringing international shows into Korea.
Phil's one of those guys. He's always, that's the thing too, is like he's one of my best friends, but I never see the fucking guy because he's always busy. Yeah. But like, more power to him. He's doing a lot of work. He puts money in artists' pockets. Like, and because of like I can't pay people, you know what I mean? Like I don't charge. Yeah, exactly it. Where Phil actually, like, he's doing it right. Like his last Big Day South, it was fantastic. Yeah, it was really, really good. He had a ton of really amazing artists come out. And it's like, it's all kind. That's the thing. He doesn't just do like one thing. Like for me, I just do one thing. You know what I mean? Like a poetry night. That's it.
But I think too, it's easier for him to monetize music. People are used to paying for music, used to paying for concerts. If you're charging $10 for an entry to a poetry slam, you might go,
I don't know. If I were to do that here, I would need to bring in competitors, like proper competitors. And I don't say we don't have those here, like, but I would have to bring people that are maybe have more of an online presence so I can promote it. Like if you have an online presence, I can promote it. Like, because that's what people want to see. They want to see, like, is it like, are you promoting it with like a selfie picture this artist took or something, or is this like a proper photo? And it does, because you're trying to get people to come to your venue on a Saturday night and pay to be there.
Absolutely,
you got to give them reason.
For sure. Yeah. How many Koreans are involved in Cypher? If you had to give it a percentage, would it be half foreigners, half Koreans? You got 10% Koreans.
I wish. I would love it. I would love that so much if I had more Korean content. Like we'd have some Koreans would come out. Majority of the Koreans that do come out as audience members. Okay. I've had like a couple Korean performers who write in English and Korean come and share, which has been great. Yep. But they just don't come very much. Like, to my knowledge, there's other scenes where it's Korean, just Koreans.
Okay, that was my next question. Yeah. Is there a Korean? There is a Korean scene where Koreans are speaking.
The one that I know about is it's in Busan. But it's I don't even know the venue. I just like from talking to this one dude I met. And they just chill and drink and share poems, and like they're happy in their venue. You know what I mean? Like, absolutely. Yeah. So like there's no, we're not gonna go to that. It's not like that. It's just like we have our thing, you have your thing, and they're like, have fun.
No teams.
Yeah.
Team SEMA.
That's right. We'll have t-shirts made.
Yeah. So one thing that it came up with Scotty there, and he's into breaking and stuff, and he says, I'm getting older. I'm starting to wear down. The physicality part of it is taking a toll, and I can't do as much anymore. I play hockey. Bry's working out like a machine and martial arts and stuff, but they all take major tolls on you. This is something that seems like you could do forever. Is there? What is the end time, or is there? Would you do this until the day you die, or would you attend the slams forever, or what is the typical maybe demographic of the people going? Are they usually younger, or can you see doing it when you're 60?
But it might be the same as breaking, where that initial group. Where it's really blown up. Your generation, what's your cohort? I guess I don't know. That might be moving through, and you guys might be the first 50-year-olds or 60-year-olds to.
We don't know. Back home, there was always people that were older coming out. Yeah. But it's one of those things too, is like the spoken word is just, it's an aspect of my life, but there are many aspects of my life. And like, as each one grows, and maybe some in different directions, some people, like, I don't go to slams anymore. I'll go to open mics. Like, I just personally, like, I prefer an open mic to a slam now. That was never always that way. Before I was like slam everything. But now it's just, I just want to go and just want to listen. You know what I mean? Like, and it's funny that you brought up breaking, because I don't do it, but like I got kicked out at Thursday party one time, and like because one of my features for Cypher was this dude named Ben Cozy Koz, and he's a Korean adoptee, lives up in Seoul, and he started this organization called Speak, and he helps out with a lot of Korean adoptees moving back. And he's an incredible musician. I love this guy. He's the nicest dude you'll ever meet in your whole life. He's not an ounce of anger in him. He's just kind, and he's really smart. But he does this thing like breakdancing, but it's like a battle dance. Like I don't know. I don't know.
B-boy.
That's it. B-boy. That's it. That's exactly it. And so he came down. He's featuring me on Saturday, and he came down Friday because we wanted to spend like a weekend just hang out together. So I was working till 10, and so he went to my house and he was like, "Oh, this is one drink." So we went to JJ's, and we were getting drunk, and like we're outside. I'm having a cigarette, and like Patrick's standing there, and he's like, "Oh, I want to dance, man." I'm like, "Oh man, there's nowhere to dance because I hate dancing and I hate clubs." So I lied to my friend, lied to his face. I'm like, "Oh, there's nowhere to dance."
You walk by Thursday
Patrick
party.
looks me right at me. "Oh, just take him to Thursday party," and I'm like, my back of my mind, I'm like, all right. So right away, my buddy gets up. He says, "A pair of tabs, go to Thursday party." So like, all right. So we go into Thursday party, and I run into like two of my really good friends I hadn't seen in a while. So, and as I'm over there, he goes up to dance, and I hear this loud bang and commotion. I turn around, and there's all these Korean dudes wrapped around my friend, and they're all grabbing him. And I'm like, oh shit. So I run into that circle, and the lady, one of the bartenders, comes over and she tells us to get the hell out. So we got out, but we're standing on the edge of the balcony kind of makeshift patio. Right. And like, I was like, what the hell happened, man? And he tells me a story about how like he did like, some guy was like dancing and then did like a move that he interpreted as like, "You're calling me out." And so he did a move kind of like get in his face, which is like a thing. And the only people in the room that understood what was happening were the two guys dancing. Yeah. This dude, the Korean dudes, all his friends thought my buddy was jumping him. So they just went on him like that.
Oh, no.
And like, yeah, so we wound up getting kicked out. And it's a funny story, like to get kicked out of Thursday party because of the dance battle. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I thought he was spinning on his head, helicopter kicking everyone.
Oh, man.
Oh, okay.
I would pay good money to see that. Yeah.
Awesome. So again, you're organizing slam events, and you're getting into other events. I know, without time stamping this one too hard, I know last weekend was Pride.
Last weekend was Pride, yeah.
Was Pride also hosted at SEMA? Well, you attended the party. Why don't you give us the rundown? Did you guys? There was no poetry in there.
No. We looked for some people from the community who were also poets or storytellers.
I know they had some act, or I don't know if they were dancers, or I know there's people coming in from.
Yeah, for sure. Like we had to go back to the beginning. Like one of my key performers for Cypher was Dorian Cliff. Dorian actually reached out to me while they were still in Canada because Dorian was looking for a place to share like a poetry event. Yeah. And so Dorian found me on Facebook and we started chatting. And then when they got here, almost all my events, they'd hit up almost all my events. And Dorian was the one who started Pride in Ulsan. Yeah. So Dorian started Pride, I think, like, I want to say 4 or 5 years ago. But Dorian did every Pride event and the Trans Night of Remembrance. The reason why this scene last weekend was as big as it was because Dorian laid the groundwork for that, did all the work for it. Like, and each time I would go and I would help out as a volunteer, but that's really about it. And this year, because Dorian moved to France, there wasn't going to be a Pride party here. And Kay Davids approached me about maybe organizing it in Dorian's honor, being like, like to make it continue on. Kay is amazing. She put together a good organizing committee where there was myself, Kay, Gareth, her husband, Jenny Cho, Kelsey Sprague, and Rachel. Now we worked really good together because we were all doing different parts of it, right? I'm really happy with how it all went down. I've never seen that many people in SEMA. Even back when I first got here and there were way more people, I've never seen that many people in SEMA. There's so many people that when the drag queens went up, nobody else could fit on the balcony, like on the patio. No, people had to stay inside.
That's awesome.
And I'm tremendously grateful for such a huge supportive community where they would just come out for a good cause, a hell of a party. Like Kevin told us he was going to make 300 Jello shots. And then when he rolls in, he's like, "Oh, I couldn't make the 300 Jello shots. I could only make 287 or some shit like that." And I was like, "You're an animal. How did you make that many?" So because he hooked us up with that, and like Rachel got so many people to give vouchers and stuff like that.
I was going to say, the community really, support. Yeah, I saw her Facebook. She was tagging all of the people that made charitable donations. Yeah, really, really well done.
It's a huge list, and because we were able to have everybody come together so much, we actually raised over 1 million won in one night for Ding Dong, which is a queer youth shelter here in Korea, and I'm pretty sure it's the only queer youth shelter. If to anybody listening, if you want to maybe check them out, you want to throw some money their way, they'd always be happy to take some, I'm sure. And you just type in Ding Dong is DDING and then Dong, DONG. And the name actually is a slang term. It used to be used among Korean lesbian teens when they were trying to notice and find out, are you, like a long time ago, men would ask, are you a friend of Dorothy or something like that, right? Like, and it was like this way of asking it without.
Like a secret handshake?
Yeah, okay. Exactly. And, but yeah, you can check out their website online. They have an English website and they have like contact list information. And if you want to throw them some money, they'd be really grateful.
Absolutely.
I just want to say, I think one of the things and one of the reasons, we're still here is that the community has always been so great and supportive here. And if it's for, we do We Hope and the NGO stuff, but for all kinds of different events and things, the community here has always been really great. And that's something that we're really grateful for. In other places, it's not always like that. And in Seoul, it's very fragmented because it's so big and there's so many people. But I remember in the old days when there was only probably less than 100 foreigners here. And ever since then, and it's grown to swell to many over that and back down again. But it's always been a very, very supportive community. And that's one of the reasons I think we can enjoy living here.
Even through doing We Hope. I don't know. I feel almost some sort of responsibility to continue on with it. And I don't know if I've said it on here before, but when we're doing events and our wives always ask, what are you doing it for? Why are you spending all your time? Why do you drive here and there or doing events and getting asking for help and supporting this or that? It's maybe similar to the slam poetry. Like it's a big buildup, but when you see the result, when you see people, in your case, having a good time, laughing, drinking, sharing time, sharing ideas and stories and whatnot, it's a very satisfying feeling, man. It doesn't matter how much work you put into to get there. It's the result, and you can see it with your work, with Dorian's work, with our work in We Hope. It's all, I don't know. It's good, man. It's a good.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's one way I've matured as a person. I think when I was younger and, I cared or thought a lot more about going out and partying and drinking with the boys. And if someone said, would you donate $10 or $20 here for this? And I'd probably say, I get no interest in that. Sorry. But, after growing a little bit, now married and kids, maybe I can't go out as much and to the events as much. But when you think about it now, you support all these big global companies that, doesn't help any of us regionally or locally. God, it's the least we could do is go out and help a couple of the groups or organizations locally to, have a voice and give them a little bit of support. So
absolutely.
I always think now, you know what? Yeah, a couple less beers or don't go here or don't get a car, whatever it is, something small, and you can put that towards something really good. So I've changed a lot that way, where I never would have thought about donating much before when I was single, and now I've grown a lot, and now I think it's not a big deal at all to give here and there to good causes.
But even I don't think it's the money that's the important thing. It's maybe your time or effort. Or I think we put more time and effort than our own funds into We Hope, man. But
I mean, for other ones, now we have kids, and we rarely go out. I saw you a couple of weeks ago there, but that's the first time I was out in 2 months.
Yeah,
so I wish I could get to the events, and once my kids are older and stuff, I'll be able to go out a little bit more, be a little more freer. But if I can't, I don't mind throwing a few mount-ons here and there to support a few different groups, because that's the least we can do. We can't go out and support them directly, but indirectly we can. So,
well, you show support in other ways, right? like you're bringing me here, you're helping me promote it here. That's tremendous, Yeah.
Absolutely, and that's we hope this podcast too can give voice to all to everyone everyone looking to get some to get their word out, man. Everyone, again, not everyone's even knows about slam poetry as just like us a few years ago, but listen to this, you get a better idea of what it is, and hopefully get some more traction.
What is a common misconception about the poetry slams or cipher or the events you organize? What is something that people say, when you see a random person, they go, wow, I didn't know this was so cool? What is it that is a common misconception?
Well, I'll tie it back to what you had said earlier, right? Like when Al was like, oh, we're having a poetry night, like you're trying to kill us. Like a lot of people, they like everybody, you can't be human and not make assumptions. You can't be human and not make assumptions, right? I think it's very natural, right? So many people would be like, oh, it's a poetry night, it's not really my thing. Because when you sing poetry,
someone crying on a bar stool.
Yeah. Or
okay.
they go back to their last high school lesson in poetry and they didn't, they just think it's not really their thing. But it is.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, exactly. But it's fun for us because like you'll see people come and you'll see their whole attitude towards it change, right? And that's a really wonderful experience as well.
That's a live event, I think. That's a live event thing too. But you can watch anything on YouTube, but I think when you're there, it's a more real experience. You can feel the presentation a lot better. Who are your biggest inspirations for? You mentioned
I got a lot of my biggest inspirations were more localized, like because my community was really tight and really strong. Yeah, like there are people like when I first started, all the people I was competing against were just seasoned, like really good at it. They were winning championships like nationally, internationally, and so like they really helped me a lot in terms of like how to shape myself. And there are some of my favorite artists, probably in Canada. There's, like I said before, Shane Koizen's the biggest thing, but in America, I think my favorite one is probably Andrea Gibson. Her stuff is incredible. She's got multiple books out. She's just amazing. And I absolutely adore everything I heard from her. There's also Anis Mojgani, and he's really, really good. He's more of I'd put him more as like his stuff is definitely poetry, but it leans towards story. You know what I mean? Like there's always a very clear narrative. Okay. Not that the other two people I mentioned don't, but also another man named Sam Sachs. Sam Sachs is just phenomenal.
He sounds cool.
Yeah, I know he's got the coolest name. And in Canada, there's Alessandra Necarato. She's got a book coming out and she's incredible. The scene is so widespread. There's so many people involved. Like another woman named Erin Dingle, who's probably one of my favorites too. She's incredible. It's hard when somebody asks me that because my brain goes blank almost because so many names.
Too many. Yeah. Pick your favorite Beatles album or Beatles song. Or
like if you ever want, if you're out there, if you want to go on YouTube and just type in spoken word, or slam poetry. There's tons of videos that come up.
I was saying I watched I can't remember.
Yeah, Taylor Malley. What Teachers Make.
Is this kind of the center, the most popular one online? Like
that's hard to say, right? Because
when I googled best slam poets,
his name would be on the list for sure.
What teachers? I think his thing was called "What Teachers Make."
Yeah,
in praise of the greatest job in the world.
Yeah, he's really good. Yeah, it's hard to say about most popular because.
It comes down to what's the most popular song. It comes down to preference.
Yeah. Also, who has more staying power, right? Like it's not just staying power, but I mean, there are people that come in and they kill it, and then they're just gone. You know what I mean, they don't do it anymore. People like Andrea Gibson, for example, who's they've made a career out of it. Yeah. Like constantly touring. If you want to book, you got to go through an agent. They're no joke.
That's awesome.
And I remember I tried to book Andrea Gibson to come to my university and for like an hour show with a workshop, it's like $1,500.
No way.
Plus playing in hotel.
Oh,
yeah. So I mean, and that's the thing though, like if you book somebody like Andrea Gibson or Shane Koizen, you could fill an auditorium. So you can you'll ticket sales alone would be fine.
Poetry, it still seems kind of like I don't want to say an underground thing, but it's not as big as hip hop music or whatnot.
Yeah.
In the poetry community, do you view guys like Taylor Malley? Do you view him as kind of like not a sellow, but like you a commercial man?
No. Like you look at some artists. You look at recently with like Beyonce just worked with a woman named Morsen Shire, and nobody said. But it's also this Beyonce, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's going to turn her down. But I mean they merged together really well, and I think it would take. Like if I ever saw one of my friends doing like a commercial for some shit, I would tease him probably.
Of course,
yeah. I don't know. It's. I think because the art form is very much the majority of it is in person in the moment.
Yep.
I don't think it would really go in that direction, like unless an individual intentionally went to maybe. But then again, it's like everybody wants to pay rent with their art. So I mean,
but I think these guys that you're talking about, I mean, if some of them have gone kind of corporate or making a lot of money now, they have a better platform to bring more attention to
that's
the art form
Yeah.
and the people and the grassroots of poetry and that kind of stuff.
Well, there's this publishing company in America called Write Bloody, and they mostly publish spoken word artists, right? Recently, they merged with the man I mentioned earlier, Brad Morton, to create Write Bloody North. So it's the Canadian equivalent. And they recently had released their first two books, and they were doing really well with that. It's like, I'm just tremendously proud of these people, like, to put so much work into it, like, and then now they're actually seeing more success. But you see companies like I said, that are actually promoting it and helping to just spread the word and spread the art. And it's a wonderful thing to see.
Well, it's definitely a lot bigger now than 5 or 10 years ago, because I mean, I've heard of it. So
The crazy
usually
thing
that would
is-
never come up in the locker room at hockey or something. But
yeah.
even now, a cool performance or whatever, and you hear about it. So
But
getting closer to the mainstream.
It took time. This whole thing started with this dude in Chicago named Mark Smith, and he started in like 1984, 1986.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and then it just grew from there. But now you can go to Bangkok, Thailand. They've got a poetry scene there. There's slams all over the world. There's like all over, like, especially like, well, of course, like North America, but I mean, like, all over Europe. Like, my buddy Ian Ketiku and Brad Morton do tours, and they toured through Europe. You know what I mean?
No way.
Yeah, they do this thing called, like, Brad's got a ukulele and Ian raps. They call it folk hop. But they've toured like all through. They've toured everywhere. Like, and there's a market for it. And if you're willing to be on the road, which is not easy, it's very fulfilling. You'll love it.
Absolutely.
But you're worked by the end of it. I don't understand how people can do it. Like,
That's
all
it.
year
Any
round.
band that tours as well.
Yeah, but I mean, like, the money's there if you're willing to travel and pick it up.
I got a question to you regarding life in Korea, and do you find it more conducive to being able to do this and spend time in your passion or your hobby or what you like to do in your free time? I find there's a lot of distractions at home, and especially when I'm in countries where I don't understand everything, especially if I don't try to, that I feel more free and more able to do what I really want instead of being preoccupied with the news or the newspapers or what people are talking about, because I'm not really listening all day to the Korean, mumble jumble going around me. Do you find that you're more focused, or do you have more time to commit to your hobby? Or
For me, it's about, I would say it's equal, if not a little bit less. And this is something I spoke with a friend of mine about, well, not about a year ago, where back when I was competing, I wrote more. I just did, because like I was competing maybe 2 or 3 times, like at least like twice a month. I was performing 4 times a month, so I always needed new material. So I was constantly writing more and more and more. So I was making the time for it. Here, it's like I'm not competing. I'm still performing a lot, but I mean, there's not that push to create more new content. There's still the push. It's just not as important, I think. So I find like I spend a little bit less time writing here, unless it's a different project, right?
But you're into organizing and
like I
doing
like
it as well, right?
organizing events is just something I really enjoy doing.
Yeah.
I've done like a book fair 3 years ago in Busan. We had a ton of people come out, because there's a ton of writers here who have content that they can sell. So we had a bunch of people come out for that. Ryan Estrada took it up and did it the next year. It was great. That was a lot of fun. And then like with Pride, with the team I worked with for Pride, it was great because we all worked really well together. And organizing events is fun. Like it's such a great feeling when you organize it, like an event, and like you fill a room with people who are interested in that idea.
Absolutely.
It feels good, and I'll get bored really easily. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like,
No doubt. I think Nate's what he's speaking to is that at home things are always busy. You have your family life, your original group of friends. When you come here, everything's new. You can kind of pick and choose what you want to do. I felt as if I was so free. I had way more
less
free time.
distraction. The way that, for me, one of the biggest ones is NHL hockey's on in the morning here. At home, if I came home from work at home and there's a game on, there's a good chance I'm going to sit on the sofa and turn it on. Here, I find I'm not even that connected to major sports because I can't connect to them. They're all on in the morning. I'm working in the morning. We do the hockey pool, but that's as much connection as I haven't watched a full hockey game in probably 10 years here. Where at home, I feel like I would watch at least 3 or 4 games a night because it's it's just part of what I do there. So I feel in that way, now with the kids and stuff, I don't have a ton of free time. But like he says, when I was single, I could do anything. Mm-hmm. I was free, and I didn't, even before the hockey rink was built, I didn't have anything I had to do, or I could do absolutely anything I wanted. I probably should have done my master's a few years earlier while I had so much time instead of waiting until I was married with kids. But yeah, I felt a lot of freedom being here in a different place with, not all the comforts and things I'm used to at home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and also the financial freedom that working and living here comes with, right? Like we were talking about that earlier, where back in Canada I was broke all the time. Here, actually, if there's a show up in Seoul, yeah, I'll hop the KTX and I'll go. It's no big deal. Like I couldn't have done that back home. So I mean, like in terms of like opportunity for the kind of events that I enjoy, yeah, I can go to like there's a show in Jinju. You know what I mean? There's a show in. There's shows everywhere, so I mean, I could just hop a bus, hop a train.
I think you have to start the central committee, man. You got to be the president of Slam Korea.
That'd be funny. That'd be funny.
And as you have, before we wrap up here, you have an event coming up, I believe, for the photography event.
Oh, that's right. I have an exposure. Now this is actually started by my buddy Julian Stout and myself last year.
Yep.
This is it doubles as a fundraiser for We Hope.
Yeah.
And it was last year was a tremendous amount of fun. The whole premise is you can print up to 20 pictures, and everybody's given like a board to post their pictures on.
Yep.
Now there are two categories. There's best picture and best narrative. So you can try to tell a narrative with one picture or up to 20. It's up to you.
Okay.
And I give, like, let's say I'm going to buy a bunch of stickers, and the judges are everybody at the event. So I'll give 2 red stickers and 2 blue stickers to each person. And the red stickers, one of the colors is going to be like for
narrative, one's for picture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they put the sticker underneath whichever picture they want. Yeah, they want to do. Or they want to win. And then half there's $10 or 10,001 entry fee. Half of that is donated to We Hope, and the other half will be allocated between the top 3 winners.
Awesome. Very nice.
I'm excited for that. The date is scheduled for the first Saturday of next month, but it might get pushed back a little bit.
How can people find it or sign up?
If you just go onto Facebook group, you can find the event. Just type in Exposure 2019 Photography Challenge, and then it'll pop up.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Cool.
You mentioned before about publishing a book, but we never heard about what it was about or the contents. What kind of book is it?
Oh, it's just a book of shorter poems that I'd written, a couple of spoken word pieces, but mostly it's just these shorter poems. It's called Issues with Etiquette.
One more time?
Issues with Etiquette. And it's actually Brad got this amazing artist, and her name is Ariane Bouchamp from, I believe, Gatineau. She's an incredible artist, and she does like tons of really, really cool stuff, but a lot of her art is done with like layered. I don't know what the term is, but it's like layered piece over piece, and she creates these larger images with it. And so she did the artwork for the book.
So you send in the words, she looks and interprets it, and does it.
Like,
do you have a final approval on the?
Oh yeah,
on
for sure. But I mean, I was because Brad approached me with 3 separate artists and samples of their work, and the minute I saw her stuff, I was like, I want to work with her, and she's just incredible. And so I didn't have any complaints about anything. Like as soon as she showed me what she'd worked on, I was just immediately really happy to have her on board.
Cool. I like it. Any slam poetry coming up soon?
Not
anything
really.
else you want to plug?
There's poetry and spoken word. The slams that used to run actually stopped a little while ago. But
I'm mixing up the terms.
No, it's fine. Yeah. There's if you want to get involved, there's a Facebook group called Busan Spoken Word, and there's a man named Carlos Williams. He does workshops and he does poetry events that are always really interesting. He has a very interesting take on it. And there's also a man named Kay. He runs the Busan Liquid Arts Poetry Plus and Words Only. Both of these two run a lot of the poetry shows in Busan. And if you join Busan Spoken Word, Kay and Carlos both often post their events to that Facebook group. Caitlin Selk started Ulsan Comedy. So if you're into stand-up comedy, you can just look for Ulsan Comedy Facebook group. And if you're in Busan, you got the Ha Ha Hole in Busan. All of these can be found through Facebook groups easily. There's also the Daegu. If you're in Daegu, there's the Daegu Story Slam that goes down at a place called Communes downtown. It's currently organized by a man named Nick Haru, and the Daegu Story Slam is great. It's absolutely amazing. And there's also my friend Jordan, who started up the Daegu Open Performances, and he co-started, I forget the name of the other gentleman, but he started up the Foreign Literary Journal. And this is an in-print journal that they did. They have their first issue out, and it's great. It's really nice. But his event also goes down at Communes. Communes is a great bar. Yeah, if you ever go, it's cool to check out.
In Daegu.
In Jinju, there's Jinju Ignite. That's mixed music and poetry. So all of these places, they have Facebook groups. You can join the Facebook group, get involved. If you want to perform, they're very welcoming environments. Like everybody's really loving. So it's don't be shy.
Awesome.
We'll be sure to post all the names and links and everything on the website.
Oh, that would be great.
Facebook and Instagram and stuff. So if anyone's interested, they can go there and click on them and figure it out.
Dude, listen, thanks for coming by. We got a typhoon rolling in here. You still made it. Thanks so much. I hope this can give some more publicity out to your.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, we're happy to have you. Spread the word, guys. Check out all the links we post underneath there. Thank you for listening. We'll see you guys again soon. Bye bye.